Right, guys. So what we're going to do here is just kind of show you some cool tricks with Spaceclaim. So what I'm going to do is just duplicate this guy down here, and what I'm doing is I have a van pulling a trailer here, and I'm changing the height of the trailer. So I don't need to go off and draw a new um, thing in Solidworks and then import it in here and create all the name selections for it. If you realize a few tricks in Spaceclaim, you can save yourself a lot of time and stress. So I'll come in here after duplicating the previous one. So the plus 200 means it's 200 millimeters. The height of the trailer is 200 millimeters below the van. So this one now is going to be 400. So I'm going to show you how we can do this in Spaceclaim. Right, so you can see here I have a typical domain as I might have showed you in previous videos around things, and I have my bodies of influences around the wheels and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is to change the height of the trailer. First of all, I'm going to go in here just so I can see it better. I'm going to turn off the outer faces of the enclosure. Now I've already created these, but these are just planes. See these planes? They're just one for the top surface of the trailer and one that's 200 mil below it. So you can just do that quite simply by coming over here to design, click plane, click on a surface, say that wheel. So I can click the plane, then click the surface. And then I can come over and get the move tool and move the plane where I want. Right, so as I said, this plane is 200 mil below this one. So what I want to do is I want to take 200 millimeters off the top of this trailer. So the way I have this set up is I take the top plane, drop it down 400. Now, I use the split body tool over here. So when I select this, it selects the whole domain. Which plane do I want to break it with? I want to break it with this one first, so that if I split it with these, it's going to split the top of the van, and I don't want that. So that's why I split with this first. Now I have the option to delete either of these. I don't want to do that. So now my domain is split to this and this one on the right. Now I'm going to split the right one with this plane here. And now I have the option to delete either. I don't want to do that. But see here, I can split the bottom one using this plane. And I do want to delete this. So that's that 200 mil gone. What I'm going to do is get the move tool. I'm going to triple click this or double click this. So double click I think it was, but you can triple click. You can experiment with it. What that has done, it selected the whole plane. When I just click it once, it just selects the front face. If I click it multiple times, it selects the whole domain. So you see it's a darker orange. So I'm going to drop this down 200 mil. Now, what I can do with this now, that's the trailer drop. So what I could do is I could just come in here and click the three domains and click combine on them, and that'll tie them together. But there's another way I can do it. On the top here, what I want to do is I want to bring the surface down. So I can click pull on this surface, and if I click no merge, it'll just drop it down 2 mil. So what I'm going to do, I'll do it without no merge first of all. So I click up 2 and it'll just bring it to the surface. Done. Right, and that didn't merge, or did it? Don't believe it. Oh, it did merge. Yeah. So I can just, you can control Z that and it'll not do. So if I click no merge and I do the same thing, you'll see that there's still three completely separate enclosures. And what I can do then is I can come in, highlight all three, and then click the, now I'd only selected the faces there, so you want to hit control, do a double click on that, and do a double click on that. So holding control lets me select multiple, and then just click combine button, and now they're together. And so you come over here to structure, and you see I just have two enclosures there now for the minute. So there's another one down there that's in there, so I can just combine them. I could just highlight these and click combine as well, and then they'll all go together into one. And then you get your one enclosure. So I'm going to go back the steps there. So the way I've been doing this so far is Control Z. So that was before, yeah. Control Z, yeah. So Control Y then to go forward. So that's after and I drop it down 2 mil. So all I've been doing is I come here and I'm going to click pull and I'm going to click up to this. And when I don't have no merge turned on, it'll combine every single thing in between here. So it's going to grab every enclosure and tie them all together. So you can see they've all become one. So that's what happens when you click no merge, when you don't have no merge selected. So they're all together now, and you can see my trailer's dropped down 200 mil. So that's just an example of one of the tricks you can do in Spaceclaim. So I'll show you a few more now. Stop this recording. Right, so I'm going to go through another sort of trick, which is it's still kind of part of the pre-processing process. It's in Fluent's inbuilt measure, and it's just a few tricks that you can do when you're through this. So because this I duplicated from a previous project, I have already here a memory of what my previous name selections were and my sort of mesh settings. So as I go through these here, you'll see some of the stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'll just import the new geometry that I just created there, which is the trailer drop by 200 mil. I'll show you some of the cool stuff that I can do. So up here, you might notice that I have the option to load workflow or save workflow. So what the workflow is, it's this sort of mesh setting. So if you know what you're working with is sort of the same, say what I'm working with here is a van and trailer. I know roughly every now and again I have the same sort of stuff, like the wheels have the same body of influence settings, their body of influence, they have mesh 12 mil, they should look for these three names, BOI1, BOI2, BOI3, and same wheel radii, I know it's looking for this. So you'd be surprised if you just export this, save it, and save it on a place in your desktop, and say you're starting completely fresh from a new Fluent block, and there's none of this already there. You have to create it all again, add all your local sizes, which can be a bit tedious. You could just load in a previous workflow, and it'll bring you back to this start step. So just experiment a little bit with those two there. Right, the next thing is this. You can go by hand and select all of these. So when I was starting off here, BOI 1, 2, and 3 for my wheels. Then I have my BOI near, which I put 30 mil, and my BOI wake, which is 60. Now I just want to make certain that I have that in millimeters. I do. Right, so back here. Now, particularly this. So when I have face surfaces, I call them bulk. They'll be like van bulk or van rear bulk or trailer underside bulk. So I put bulk at the end of them to signify that I want them to have this 10 mil mesh, this face mesh. And so and in some cases when you have really complicated faces, you could have like 27 of these, and these can be quite tedious to go down and select through in the menu here. So you can pull it up, but you're always worried that you might miss one as you're coming down clicking through them. You can use a wildcard search here. So a wildcard is this sort of asterisk star thing. So you can go bulk and then an asterisk afterwards. So what that'll do is it'll sort of insert whatever you want before bulk, or if you've mistaked something you've called trailer bulk 2 and there was a trailer bulk 1. That's why I put the star afterwards, because that'll still pick up on that. So you can see there that's all 10, and I know I've selected all 10. So just experiment with this filter up here. This filter text is extremely powerful. So there it is with the use wildcard. So them stars there are quite a hack when you're going through this. And the same there. So wheel surrounds. And I know here that I'm looking for my 3 wheels. So there's 2 wheels on the van and there's 1 wheel on the trailer. Same I could do here with the wildcard, and I can go wheel. And you can see there I got my back wheel, my front wheel, and my trailer wheel. And then there are just other things there that come up because of the way it's searched. And update that, update the mirror, and then fine as well. I could do the same wildcard search for fine. Now, I know that I'm happy with all the settings from here out. So I could do the surface mesh and then do the geometry, but I know it's going to work. So I can just jump all the way down here to what I have my final thing, which is an improve volume mesh, and just improve that and click yes on that. So I could just walk away from this. Sometimes the surface mesh on really complicated geometries where there's millions of cells might take 20 odd minutes, and this volume mesh might also take 20 minutes. Usually the surface mesh might take a little bit longer. So both of them could take 40 minutes, and you don't want to have the case where you have to just click on this and then maybe come back later and then click for the next 20 minutes. You can just click as I did there on the whole, and they'll automatically update if you know that there's going to be no errors like I do here. So that's just something that can save you time and at this point in the pre-processing step. So hope that helped. Right, what I'm going to do now is I have this is running here in the background. What I just clicked there to start it all off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and give you a demonstration of how powerful the pull tool is in Fluent, in Spaceclaim in particular. So I have all these where they have a special long tongue. So I made them have a longer drawbar in the trailer, but originally they had a very short drawbar. So I'll go back up here to the very first one that I worked with. So for example, so it was plus 1200 was the first special one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find 1200 up here, and I'm going to duplicate it, and we'll have a play with this. So duplicate. So that'll go all the way down to the bottom. Right, I'm just going to rename that so I know that it's only for just teaching you how to do what I'm about to do here. So come in here and edit in Spaceclaim. So I'm still able to do all of this where I can still edit and create blocks in here, even though Fluent is running out here. But one thing you definitely don't want to do while you're doing this, so say when Spaceclaim is open, is at any point click Save Project or Save, because what that's going to do, it'll sort of mess up the fact that Fluent is still trying to do something here, and then you're wanting to save the project before this thing is done. So make sure if you are doing stuff like what I am now editing, you don't come up here and click save project like that. So you just need to, whatever you're doing here, you just need to be very careful and not make mistakes. Right, so same again, I'm going to just hide the outer skins of the enclosure. And there's my trailer. So you see the drawbar is just way too short. So I want to extend this drawbar. And how I'm going to do this, and I'm going to mess around with it, is this pull tool. This pull tool is one of the most powerful things in Spaceclaim, and if you can just experiment with it and learn how to use it, and these split bodies and split face tools are also extremely powerful, and so is fill. So you just need to be aware of how much these can help you out. Like say I want this trailer with a longer drawbar, yes, I could go and draw it up in Spaceclaim and bring it all back in, but that means I'm going to have to set up the domain again, all its sizes, and I'm going to have to create name selections for all of this, and it's just tedious and annoying. So I can still use these if you understand how powerful this pull tool is. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to get rid of this this handle here, first of all. So I'm going to show you a way I could do this. And I can create it back as well later on. So I'm just going to pull this this surface down this way. So you see how it comes down like that. So you can adjust things quite simply like that. So I'm going to click now up to and this surface here. So that's going to become a straight bar. Now, what if I want to make this flat? And well, you're like, okay, I'll just click that there, but you see the way it comes down. You don't want that. So Control Z that to go backwards. You can click Control Y to go forwards again, but Control Z. So there's another cool feature of the pull tool. So you click this face, and you see there's an option here for some reason it's sort of deselected there. So you click the pull tool, and you can click this revolve. So what you do is you can select your face and click the revolve around this corner here. And look at what this can do. You see that there, and I know from what I remember that's at 25 degrees, so I'm just going to select that and click 25. And so you can look in from the side, and you can see now I've managed to flatten it, and I can completely get rid of this by just coming down here and click pull it down like that. Okay, so I could click up to that there to completely destroy it. But I might leave it. I might leave it like that for a second. So you'll see that I'm gonna draw this later. So I'm gonna be quite smart. And I'm gonna just bring it back in here like this. So the reason I'm not completely destroying it, which is what would happen if I said up to and here using this up to and then clicking that surface, which would get rid of it, is that I want to keep the name selection for that. So if you come in here, it should be under trailer hitch fine, and it is. So I want this to stay like this and be its own independent thing. You'll see why. So I want to make this longer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, I'm going to create a plane coming off this. So that plane has been created. If I zoom back out, I can see it. Well, it should have been. Probably wasn't. Come back in here. No, so that's definitely created. It is. So I'm going to just move it over, say, 10 mil or 15 mil for a second. So just click space there and click 15 mil. Now I'll zoom in here and show what I want to do. Now, you can see there that I'm kind of perfectly where I want to be in terms of like I'm not in on top of this area here, but I'm still kind of in along the straight patch. And that's going to be really important for what I want to do here. So I'm going to move all this domain backwards. I want to move the trailer all to the right. And you might have seen this previously where I'm going to use the split body. So I'm going to come over here, click split, and I'm going to split it along this plane. And now I have the option to delete either of them. I don't want to do that. I come click the move and on multiple select so that I can pull this whole domain back this way. I'm going to move everything back 1000 mil. Done. Right. You need to be aware there's a few things that have happened when you've done that. No longer is if you're using a body of influence around your trailer wheel, it's no longer there. So what you want to do is you want to come in there and select that. You can probably select it like this and click move. And then come in here and move that back 1000. So that lines up now where it's supposed to be. Another thing as well is going to be your BOI near and far. So you see now that also doesn't work. So that's not where it needs to be. And this guy also isn't. So what I'm going to want to do with this, so just so you can kind of appreciate where it's gone. That guy there needs to move back 1000 mil. So click that, click move him back 1000. Okay. Now because everything's gotten longer, this guy isn't going to want to move back 1000. He's going to want to extend 1000. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just turn off the enclosure for a second. Come in here, click pull. Now it's very important that I'm going to pull this and I want it to be no merge. So pull it 1000. So So the reason I clicked no merge, if no merge wasn't selected, that BOI would have fused with this BOI, body of influence, and they wouldn't be two separate entities like they are now, which is not, I wouldn't want that. I want to give a specific sizing for the BOI wake and the BOI near. So this will be much finer than this, and that's the advantage of having them separated. Right, so that's there now. So I just need the drawbar now to come out here, and this is where the pull tool will come in quite useful. You just come in here, pull this surface, and I'm going to pull it up to here. And I'm okay with it merging. There's no need to click no merge because I actually do want the domain to merge afterwards. So that's done. Let's see now what it looks like. Turn off the outer skins. Off they go. And there you go. So there's the extended drawbar. So you can have an experiment with some of this stuff and see how you can go. And you'll kind of realize why I selected the part that was straight. You know, it's straight. If I was in here, notice this is slightly angled off. When that gets pulled, it also pulls along its angle, so it should actually kind of sort of triangle out the way. So maybe you don't understand that, but if you experiment around with it, you'll see that the pull tool does certain things, and getting used to what the pull tool can do is really advantageous. Right, so that's my drawbar there. Now I'm going to try and create again what I had before. You might remember I had a bit of a handle here. So I don't remember how far I had this out, so I'll just kind of roughly do it. If you do know, say I moved it back 20 mil before, all I'll have to do here is just move it out 20 mil again. Let's say what does 15 look like? 15 looks good. Okay, I don't know. As I said, you could have made a note on how far you brought it down there that time. So you bring it up maybe, I don't know, probably bring it up 40, will we? Probably too much, 35. Okay, that'll do. Now, I want to get that angle back that I had before. Same thing, come up, pull, get this, select that, and rotate it around. Remember, it was 25 degrees, so the way that's working there, it seems to be wanting to be 335. Now, sometimes it can do that, so you just want to Control Z that and try and get it right. I might be able to get it by hand here. 25 degrees will be 335. Got it. Okay. Now the next thing is, how do I get remember my handle kind of went off this way. So there's no way I can pull this. So you're like, okay, that's not working. So I want that face, that small face that was there is now gone. But you can get that back with the split face tool. So this is split face. So what you want to do is collect your face here. Now, and then select, I believe it's this one, a perpendicular cut. So you can see I have the option to come down as far as I want here. So I'll select, and there's a way to do it. I think you click tab there. And I can probably go for, was it 20, maybe 20, and click enter. And now you see the face has been created. Now I can click pull, and pull is going to make it come out perfectly perpendicular like that. So that's not what I wanted to do. That's not how it looked before. So the way I solve this is I click pull, but I pull in a direction, and the direction I pull is along this guy's direction. So look at this. See, now that's creating what I want, and I can bring that out however far it was. I don't know, 60. Yeah. So that kind of looks like what was there before, and you see how smart it was that I left the little small piece that this was before I done this, so that I could create all this again. And if you come down here to your name selection, you see everything is still good. That's still part of trailer hitch fine. So that's some stuff that I've learned before. It saves me a whole lot of time if I can just come in here, mess around with the pull tool and mess around with the fill tool. The fill tool will fill in things that I don't want anymore, and just experiment with split body, split, fill, move, and pull, and combine. Learning to use them in Spaceclaim can save you a lot of time if you want to edit your geometry. So I'd really recommend learn to do that rather than having to go and redraw a new version of this with a longer drawbar in Solidworks and bring it in here, which is lose you on maybe 20-30 minutes, and the chances are that you're not going to get these exactly named up the way they are, and you're going to have to look at maybe like a screenshot of this list here while you're creating the new things. So you can avoid doing that by knowing the cool tricks I showed you there with pull. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and hopefully it'll save you some time through your CFD career working with Ansys. Alright, thanks guys.